and this is my hometown. So you got to do us right, okay? You think we can blow the roof off this place, even though we're ways into Saturday at the con? Do you think we can? Yeah! I'm sorry, it sounds like a couple of you are taking a nap. Dallas, Texas. Do we want to show the rest of the state that nobody does it like Dallas? You think you can give me just a little bit more? That sounds like it. So, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only Stargirl, Brec, Bassinger.
Hello! Set my water down. I'm not British.
Well, we'll do the whole kind of British, and it'll be unique in its own way.
So, Tom Holland who? Just kidding, I love Tom Holland.
So, fellow Texan, what is it like doing your first one? You've done a convention before. You haven't done one of these big multi-fandom monstrosity. Is it bad for me to say monstrosity about this show? You haven't done one of these until this. What has it been like with just the oceans of people out there? What's the experience been like for you so far?
Yeah, well, Stargirl premiered May of 2020. So for the first 2 seasons, I haven't gotten to do what you traditionally think of when you get cast as a superhero, like, oh, I'm gonna get to go to conventions and meet a bunch of people. So getting to finally be here and meet people that have watched the show that I've now been working on for 3 years has been, first of all, so validating, fulfilling, but also exceeded my expectations. I was a bit nervous to meet people, but everyone had just been so nice and welcoming. So I'm like, I want to do more, this is fun.
So the show premiering in the thick of the pandemic, and we've got a second season of what's been out now, we got season 3 coming and everything. In the way that you were able to see the kind of love that's been out there for this show, that not all of our superhero shows have been surviving of late. We are glad that we have gotten as much Stargirl as we've gotten so far. What was it like, to the extent that you read the comments, or maybe you had the comments vetted for you, about what people were saying about the show, the love for the show that was out there that you couldn't go out there and see people in person to get?
Yeah, Jeff Johns, who's our showrunner, he's been part of DC Comics for such a long time, so he knows how, what's the right word, opinionated the people are who read comics.
Enthusiastically.
I love that. I love it. No, I think you should be opinionated. If you love these characters, you have a certain idea of how they should be portrayed. So be opinionated. There's nothing wrong with that. Enthusiastic's great too. So he kind of prepared me for the worst. He's like, so you might get some negative comments, but it's actually been much more positive than I've expected. Maybe it's because I was preparing for the worst, which is possibly pessimistic, but it's worked out for me because it's been extremely positive. And I do think I'm blessed in that there hasn't been a lot of interpretations of Stargirl, very few just guest stars on DC Legends, but never a show starring her, no pun intended. So I do think I have that on my behalf as well.
One of the things that I was telling you a moment ago that I love about the show is the complexity with which it treats these teenage characters. Teenagers are so much more complicated than I think a lot of live action media treat them until, the 3rd or 4th season of something, when they're like, oh, okay, we're gonna not just have this person be a trope or a stereotype of some sort. What has it been like getting to know your castmates who, you're making this show under some of the most difficult circumstances you could possibly be making it. What's it been like forging that bond with your besties, your frenemies, your coworkers that you're making the show with?
Yeah, well, talking about getting to the high school aspect of the show, it's actually one of my favorite parts about the show, because high school is such an interesting time of life. You're figuring yourself out, all that good stuff. And then also figuring out how to be a superhero on top of that. I feel like that's a very interesting dynamic that's been fun to explore. And then as for navigating this with my wonderful cast, I love them. I'm not just saying that, getting up here and giving you what you want to hear, but truly, I'm such good friends with all of them. The girl who plays Wildcat, Yvette Monreal, she's my best friend in real life. She'll probably be my maid of honor. I tell people that all the time, but it's true.
I guess we have an announcement.
Oh no, Dylan's over there going, what? That's my boyfriend for 5 years. No, anyway.
Shout out to Dylan.
I'm sweating.
I didn't mean to give you an anxiety attack, but I guess I did.
Thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
No.
Free of charge.
But seriously, these people I get to work with, and mind you, there's days we're spending 16 hours. I've had a 20-hour day where I got there at 7 a.m. and around at like 4 a.m. the next day. So you see these people at their highest and their lowest, and to have this family that you can rely on when you're at those lows has been so wonderful. From our leader, Jeff, to the whole JSA, Angelica, Cameron, everyone's been so lucky. Luke Wilson, who plays my dad, fellow Texan.
Also from North Texas.
Yes, we love the Texans. He's so great, and getting to learn from him because he's done it all, man. He's done the Wes Anderson.
He's done Mike Judge.
Yeah.
Idiocracy, just everything.
Yeah, Legally Blonde. Like when I first met him, I was so nervous because I grew up loving Legally Blonde. But I did my research. I got on Google and I'm like, okay, he's from Texas. I'm gonna use this as like my segue for us to be friends. And I meet him, and literally the first thing I said was, "Go Dallas Cowboys!" And he just like, First thing I said out of my mouth, not like, "Hi, my name is Brec." I was literally like, "Dallas Cowboys!" But I mean, he's from Texas, so he received that fine. We're great pals now, so I guess it worked.
He's like, "Oh, okay, you're obviously actually from Texas because
Yeah.
only one of us would be precisely that hard."
Chips and queso.
Hey.
Yay!
You mentioned Legally Blonde. I want to ask you, there are a lot of people who, over the years, whether reading the comics, now with the show, big fans of Stargirl. What were you a fan of that maybe influenced your desire to be a performer? Not necessarily saying that, I'm assuming you initially wanted to be an actress or go in one direction or another, but were there things that you saw on screen that made you go, "Oh, I want to grab that cosmic staff and go"?
Of course, like I have the movies that definitely inspire me. I actually found my love for acting through beauty pageants, and it's not like what you see on TV. It was very natural, and I feel like helped me learn how to speak in front of people. Actually, like I would do things like this.
It's an incredibly high pressure environment.
It is, and if they ask you a hard question, you have to have the right answer to it. So it was a very good learning experience for me, but through that, I found my love for performing. So this sounds crazy, but this was truly always my attitude. When I was younger, people would come up to me and they'd say, "Oh, what do you want to be when you're older?" And my answer was, sassy little Brec would go, "Oh, I don't want to be anything, I'm gonna be an actress." But...
And that's how Courtney jumped onto the screen.
There you go, and then I grabbed my cosmic staff and flew away, so there you go. But no, for me it was just like never a question. This is what I wanted to do, and I was gonna do anything it took to reach those goals.
Now, I mentioned the cosmic staff, and there is a fair amount of stuff that is in this show that it's got to be your face doing it, and they put you in a harness, and they swing you around, and all that kind of stuff. And having worked in the world of stunts myself, sometimes I gather that makes you feel more ridiculous than some of the like comic book, crazy speak that's coming out of your mouth about, the thing and the thing that connects you.
Gentleman ghost.
Yeah, here comes,
Yeah.
I mean, what is it like doing the portions of the stunt work that you are doing? Is it fun? Is it a bit grueling? Can it be a little of both? What's the experience been like for you?
No, stunt days are definitely I prepare myself for stunt days. They can be very challenging, but I love doing it. I get to go up into wires, but there was a time first season where I was on a green screen. There was a guy in a green suit, and I was hanging there like a giant baby in like a jumping thing. And I partially wanted to make fun of myself, but then also I was like, oh my gosh, look at what I'm doing for a living. Like, this is so cool. It's so surreal getting to do this, and there's very few moments where I'm like so grounded and like, wow, I'm grounded, although I was in the air. Anyway, but no, I'm so lucky to get to do some of my stunts. I have, this sounds horrible, but I have a scar from every single season, and I call them my different Stargirl scars. And I'd love to say most of them are from like doing super cool stunts, but like one of them I had been doing stunts the whole day, and I was walking through the forest, and I fell on a rock, and now I have this like giant scar on my back. And I'm like, this is my season 1 scar. And so I love stunts and shouldn't be allowed to walk through forests.
Oh, that's the name of the memoir, Stargirl.
Wow, he likes puns too. We're
No,
gonna be
it's gonna be the bratwurst. Oh, up here.
We got an applause right there. He likes puns too.
One guy. There we go. One other pun person. I've got a couple more questions for Brec. We've got audience Q&A mics set up right up there. One in that aisle. One in this aisle over here.
We have a taker. She jumped up. I love it.
Excellent. I'm going to ask one more, and then I'm going to send it over to our hero from Krypton over there. One of the things that I hear asked a lot at these shows, on red carpets, that kind of thing, is, oh, what do you want to do next? You know what? I'm real focused on you doing more Stargirl until you are done doing Stargirl, and that's the way that we're going to run the social media campaigns, yes? Because they will take it from our cold dead hands. What are some of the things that maybe you've gotten to do on Stargirl that influences what you want your career to be able to do for you going forward? Do you want to do more heavily physically active stuff like this? You know, if the other comic book company's studio gives you a call, you know, would you put on another version of tights? Do you have interests? Are there things that you're, you know, I'm a big Jane Austen fan. Is there something that you're a fan of that you would love to be in an adaptation of, that because of what Stargirl's given you, you feel like, you know, the world's your oyster, and, you know, you might as well go for it?
Yeah. I mean, as much as I love spandex, you know, super flattering, no, I would totally, I love getting to be a superhero, just any type of, even just like the sci-fi stuff, like I said, the green screen, things I might not have expected my career to take me to, the things I've gotten to do. I would happily do that more. I love like the community of the DC and other superhero related, not, you know, Marvel stuff. I feel like there's very few actors that get to do the crossover of both universes as well, so of course I'd want to get to do that. It is on my list to do a book adaptation at some point. And something I've learned through filming Stargirl, which is actually frowned upon a lot in the industry, I've learned, or isn't like consistent, I really love comedy. It's what most of my career has been up to this point. And like Stargirl has a few comedic moments here and there, but they tend to be my favorite. So like I would happily continue in like the comedic stuff. Yeah.
Why not do both if you're good at them? Let's go right over here to a fellow DC hero.
Hello, Brec.
Hello, Supergirl.
As a retired educator, I'm always interested to know, was there a teacher or a mentor or somebody that really inspired you?
Oh, I've had so many people. I have to, and I'm not just saying this. It feels very like, oh, she's pulling it back around to Stargirl, but this human in my life has made such an impact and taught me just how to not only be a kind person, but a kind leader, and it is Jeff Johns.
Oh yeah.
I love him, I adore him. He is the best showrunner I could dream of. Just the way he handles problems on set is just so professional, and also like the man doesn't sleep. We were recently got on a phone call, I'm like, okay, update me about season 4, like what's it looking like? And he's like, well, you know, I'm working on Wonder Woman, I'm working on Flash, and I'm working on, and I'm like, okay, are you sleeping? He's like, nope. So also just like his work ethic is truly inspiring. So I look up to him in so many ways.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right over here.
Hi, thank you. My name is Malcolm. I'm a big fan of a lot of the new crop of CW shows and all those superhero shows like Superman and Lois and Stargirl, obviously. I am actually curious who your favorite non-Stargirl character on Stargirl is and why.
Ooh.
Oh, your bestie's gonna hear about this if you don't say Wildcat.
Oh no, Yvette, I'm so sorry. I actually love our villains. I think the ISA is so cool. Also, all the actors who play the ISA, you know, sometimes lines in superhero shows, I get it, it's a fictional universe, but sometimes they're like really far out there, and somehow they're able to like ground it, and I'm like, how do you do that? Like, how do you, going back to Gentleman Ghost, it's always like my go-to, but like, how do you say Gentleman Ghost so seriously? And they do such a good job, so I love our villains.
Thank you.
Right over here, looking forward to the Condiment King, cameo on Stargirl while we're talking about ridiculous characters. Go for it, Ash Ketchum.
Hi, Courtney.
Hello.
Okay, so I'm gonna play off on that favorite villains thing you just said, and I'm gonna make a little twist on it. Who was the scariest villain in Stargirl you had to go up against?
Okay, Eclipso. That's season 2, our main villain, Nicholas Terabay, who plays Eclipso. He was a wonderful human being, super creepy on set. He showed up, and he's over there like in the corner. We're doing this big fight scene. It's the first time we see Eclipso, like he comes out of the diamond, and he's on set, and he's like getting into his character. He's like in the corner, and he's making all these like noises and screeches, and he gets up to do the scene, and everyone just goes quiet. And you could have heard a pin drop because it's such a big character. You have, like, he had to do so much to get into, like, changing his body physically. He was in prosthetics from head to toe, just so much. So he was definitely, like, intimidating and scary to do scenes with, but wonderful actor.
Yeah, I would say Eclipto too. Thank you, Courtney.
Thank you.
Right over here.
Hi, Miss Brec. I was wondering if there was a particular favorite backseat story that you had,
A favorite what story?
like behind the scenes.
Was there an epic meltdown day where everybody flipped their lines? Was there?
Okay, so like I said, we're all friends on set. So like sometimes we start having too much fun on set. They're like, okay, remember this is work, and we're like, ha ha ha.
We're going to enjoy ourselves.
Yeah. We get the giggles a lot. I've definitely like, not even just on this set, but like other sets. There's definitely moments where I have directors come up to me. They're like, we're so glad you're having fun, Brec, but you need to stop laughing. You keep getting the giggles, and we're behind schedule. And I would have been, ha 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 ha. But no, there was one day. We have very long days, and you know, one scene could easily take 10 hours, 12 hours to film. So if there's this scene in the middle of the day that I'm not in, I have a long break. So there was one day, me and my girl Wildcat were like, let's get into some trouble. So we snuck up to the wardrobe department, and I stole the Wildcat suit, and I put it on. And I was just running around set and yowling, because why not?
Please tell me there's footage of this.
Oh, yes, yes.
Lots.
I think I posted on Instagram. It was like, and then my favorite was like all the comments like, spoilers, you're spoiling something. I'm like, I'm not spoiling anything.
Just screwing around.
Yeah,
That's
I just
literally what I'm doing.
had too long of a break. So yeah,
Thank you.
thanks.
Right over here.
Hi. What's the most memorable audition you ever went on? Good or bad?
Oh gosh, this is maybe T. Maybe I shouldn't tell this, but I'm going to.
Look, that's what auditions are.
The T. So it was for a director session for a movie that I'm actually in, and that's as much detail as I will give. But I'm in the middle of the scene, and the director checks his phone. He like starts checking his text messages. And I'm just like, what? And I get very sassy. It's not one of my best characteristics. So I finished the scene, I'm like, okay, bye. Walked out. I called my agent, I'm like, can you believe it? He got on his phone, like the disrespect. I was so offended. Then I ended up booking it. And I show up to set, and the director comes up to me, he's like, yeah, I'm the a-hole who was on his phone during your audition. And I'm just like, hee 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 hee.
Gee, I didn't notice.
Yeah, no, I had them tugs. I thought it was not nice. I was like, no, we worked so hard. But I ended up booking it, and he's actually a lovely director. I enjoyed working with him, so.
Everybody has bad days.
Yeah, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. I'm just gonna sing some Hannah Montana.
Sorry, that's a separate ticketing experience, $150. It'll be this evening. Go Mavs. What do you got for us?
Thank you.
Love you, Stargirl.
I love you.
My question is the JSA ever gonna have a cameo with Kingdom Come Superman?
That would be awesome. I know I've heard talks of different crossovers, so if I have anything to do with it, yes, sure. But I have nothing to do with it, so I don't know.
Thank you.
Alan Scott, the Green Lantern.
So season 1 of Stargirl is probably one of my
love Stargirl. But to go a little bit off track and maybe to expand on that, I think the Shazam Stargirl relationship, or whatever that would be called, is a very interesting storyline, and I hope one day we get to kind of explore that in Stargirl, because I think it's really funny. Thank you.
Right over here.
Hi, so I heard you mention you might maybe want to play a Marvel character at some point. What character might you want to play?
Oh boy, 1,000 phones. Wake up. This will be on Reddit in 12 minutes.
I don't know.
What kind of superhero? Maybe power set, personality? Do they need to be Brec level sassy? I feel like they have to be. I think they have to be.
I think they have to be. I'd love to be a villain. Just like generally speaking, I was like, I've done the superhero thing, still doing the superhero thing. But to, match Brec's sassiness, I do feel like I have to go like the villain route. So I'll leave it vague. Honestly, just, leave it to interpretation for whoever wants to see this and cast me.
All right, thank you.
Right over here.
What has been your favorite episode of Stargirl?
Ooh, that's a great question. I really loved season 1, episode 10. I cried when I filmed it. I cried when I watched it. I think it shocked a lot of people because I think a lot of shows are scared to kill off main characters, and we did. And so I liked that aspect of it because they're like, we're not scared, we'll do it. I really love that episode.
I love how artfully you danced around the spoiler so that people who haven't caught up yet, they don't know who dies, but somebody does. Over here,
So
Superman.
10, dun dun dun.
So who's the biggest prankster on the set?
Oh gosh, I get that question so much. I kind of feel like we're all so silly. Like Cameron, who plays our man, half the time, like, we don't know where he is because he's like hanging out in the makeup trailer trying on wigs and different characters, and we're like, where's Cameron? He's like, oh, pretending to be Dr. Midnight again, oh darn. So I'll go with him just because he is so goofy that we never know what he's gonna do.
Right over here.
Hi, Brec. How you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
Good, good. Normally I would say welcome to Texas, but actually it's more welcome home.
Thank you, yeehaw.
You're talking about your relationship with Jeff and everything. How much comics and stuff did you have to read, or how much did he make you go through for your part as far as reading his Stargirl and his JSA stuff?
One little thing, I love the way that you phrase that. How much did you have to? Like, tell us about Jeff Johns chaining you to a desk and forcing you to read those comics.
I mean, honestly, when I asked him, this would have been his, I think I did, and this was his answer one of the times. He would have been like, well, the storyline's not going to follow a comic book closely, so do whatever you want. And then I'd also ask him a good question, be like, okay, but what about this? And he'd be like, I'll have every answer you need to know about DC Comics.
Yeah, but Professor, I want to do the homework, please.
That is me. I'm the annoying student that when I would get a question wrong on like a test, I'm not joking, I would write like an essay on why the answer I chose was right and they were wrong, and kid you not, I had teachers end up changing the answer to, I also want to be a lawyer in my spare time. I'm also stubborn, so there we go. But no, I really enjoyed reading the comics. I wanted to do the research. I wanted to understand the universe. I did not realize how broad and huge it was. And I was like, oh, I'll never know everything. But luckily, we had Jeff on set, who I call my DC encyclopedia, because anytime we had a question, he would have 5 different answers on, depending on what Earth it was, and what year, well, what comic, what book, and I'm like, great. So I enjoyed just doing my own research, but I don't think it was a requirement for the show.
Did you feel you added pressure, being that the character was based on his sister? Did he go into that with you?
Yeah, for sure. No, like I said, he's a wonderful leader and so easy to have like open communication with. But I definitely did feel that pressure because I wanted to do her justice, his family justice, and I mean, he's been just so supportive that any pressure I did have was kind of eased. And I'm so honored that he trusted me with this role.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Let me ask you a follow-up. I wonder, maybe this is just me seeing things. Is there kind of a weird analog between your relationship with Jeff Johns and your on-screen relationship with your on-screen stepdad, played by Luke? Is there a kind of mentorship thing there where, because the story is so personal to him, but also because he's so personally invested in any project he's a part of, goes back to his days working for Richard Donner. What is that like? Has it been pretty much that way from the very beginning? Has it evolved over time?
Yeah, like of course, knowing someone for 4 years versus a couple of days, your relationship's gonna go stronger. What you know about them, what they know about you. I definitely say he's a mentor not only on set, but just in the industry in general.
He's been around.
He's done it all. So even questions like, what's a convention like? Which I totally have. 'Cause like I said, I get nervous for things. I could easily call him and he would explain to me step by step what the process is gonna look like. So definitely a mentor type relationship. And then also Luke on set, you spoke to him who plays my stepdad. Just getting to watch him on set, I'm like, you're one of my mentors, just because I love seeing the way different seasoned actors navigate themselves on set. I find it very intriguing. And both him and Amy Smart are just so humble and so great at their craft. I feel like I've learned so much from both of them.
It's really beautiful. Right over here.
Will Stargirl ever cross over with any other CW show?
I sure hope so. Like, yeah, I'm serious. When I first got cast, there had been like talks about it. There was a time where there was like an email chain going on, like, okay, we're thinking Flash crossover in this episode, and you'll need to go to Vancouver, and I was like so pumped, and then it didn't happen. I'm like, okay, I'm fine, we're fine. I very much hope so, but like I said, I control nothing, so we'll just have to see.
Right over here, Cobra Kai.
What advice would you give to a young actor?
For me, my advice is always get into acting class. It'll teach you skills. It'll teach you if you actually like it. I find a lot of people like the idea of it, but when they actually start doing it, they're like, oh, no, not for me. So that's how I started. I took out an acting class here in Texas for 3 years. And then through the connections I made through my acting school, I ended up getting an LA agent and went out there and got to start auditioning. And so that's always my advice. Look for like a local theater group, local acting class, there's improv classes, just to really start building your skills and also building connections.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I add something onto that? Was any of the theater stuff that you did community theater?
I did theater at my school, like my middle school.
School theater and everything.
Yeah.
I'm a huge proponent of community theater. The thing that I like asking, pros who have really made it like yourself, is what the way that you're watching Luke and Amy on the set now. What were some of those things that you learned doing those school shows? Whether it was maybe from a theater director, teacher, whether it was from the occasional, older, parent actor, or somebody who'd drop in and be like, Mother Superior and Sound of Music or something. Did you have any of those kinds of experiences early on that really helped lock in I'm going to do this?
Yeah, I mean, something I've talked about this a few times, but it is something I really have to focus on, is how nervous I get, especially with theater, because it's a live performance. So I knew that was something I was going to have to be aware of and focus on. So it taught me that. That was fun. It also got me really good at memorizing lines, because with theater you don't want to mess up. I'd also say even just like verbiage of stage left would be the same as camera left, which is actually to the right, because this was a big camera or a big TV. This would be y'all's left, or it's my right. So even just like learning those terms and like your mark, where you're supposed to walk to. I feel like my theater experience and my acting school experiences gave me that confidence of when I walked on a set and the director was like, go to your mark. I knew what they were talking about.
And somebody here might be the next Brec Bassinger from Texas to the screen.
There you go.
Right over here, we got 2 more questions.
What's up, Stargirl?
What's up?
So my question to you is actually a very unique one. So like,
I'm nervous.
so like, just like we had crossovers in TV shows, we've had crossovers in comic books, such as Batman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Godzilla, and the Power Rangers. So my question to you would be, where would you like to see Stargirl crossover with another comic series? Say like maybe Star Wars, Red Jonas?
Yeah, honestly, I can't lie. My comic book knowledge is pretty linear with Stargirl and the JSA, so I don't have a great answer for you because I stay pretty niched in that area. But I love what you were going for. Star Wars, Stargirl, I love it. What you said.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And right over here. Oh, we got somebody right over here, so we'll go over to this mic and then we'll come back to you.
Hey, Stargirl.
Hi. Oh, I love the sass.
So, how did the kids show you were in lead you to this?
Yeah. Oh, so okay, I was on a Nickelodeon show called Belle and the Bulldogs for a few years, which was such a lovely experience. Oh, we have some people that watch it, love it. It's on Netflix now, so if you have Netflix and you want to watch a kid show, it's really great. But talk about like set experience. I think I got casted as Bella when I was 14, maybe. So just from a young age, just being able to be around and be on a set taught me so much. It also taught me that I really, really loved it. And even at a young age, I was working very long, hard days, and I still loved it, so I knew I could keep going. And this is like a fun little trivia thing. So the 2 creators of Belle and the Bulldogs, their names are Jonathan and Gabe. They actually, okay, I'm gonna go back a little bit because I think this is a fun little story, or just fun little connect the dots. So the very first show I was on was called Haunted Hathaways. It was another Nickelodeon show, and they were writers on that show. And I guess they met me, this is how the story goes, and they fell on the Bulldogs, and they just knew I was perfect for it. So they ended up creating that show, which I got to be on, and then they became writers on The Flash. And a year later, I ended up getting casted as Stargirl. So when I got cast and the release came out, the first emails I got were from Jonathan and Gabe being like, "You're following us, we knew you would do it, we knew you were a star." So that's been a fun little connection. Thank you. I kind of got off track.
That's what these things are for, getting off track. Should have been here this morning with Michael Brooker. That was the definition of off track. He was walking off through the crowd. He went over there. It was, I had a minor anxiety attack, but I'm okay. Right over here. If anybody else wants to get up, we've got a little bit more time left. I can fill any amount of time, but I'm sure that this question is going to be way better than what I've got.
Hi, Stargirl. Nice to meet you. My name's Ashley.
Hi, Ashley. Nice to meet you.
My question is, what was it like working with Joel McHale? Is he ever not funny?
No, like he's literally always funny. So Joel McHale came on as a series regular for 3rd season. He plays Starman. He had some cameos season 1 and 2. This man, he's 6'5". He's a freaking tank. He's like very good looking. And he's funny. Oh, and he's nice. I'm like, what? You're annoyingly awesome. Come on. But working with him was so fun. Like, talk about another human who doesn't sleep. We were filming on a Friday. He had a show in Vegas on Saturday, like a stand-up show. He flew home to have dinner with his kids and wife on Sunday and had a 5 a.m. call back in Atlanta on Monday for Stargirl. Wow. And he's just, and a family man. Like, he's so lovely. Another person that I very much look up to and learn so much from. But it was always like, I'd get like prepared if it was like a scene with Joel, 'cause I'm like, okay, get the cheeks ready, get the laugh box going, because he's just gonna have me rolling. Like, he is so funny. So yes. Or no, is he, you know what I'm saying.
Yes. Thank you.
Well, we've got time for these 2 last questions. Great, thanks for jumping up to the mic.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course. Okay, so you told me who your favorite Scariest villain was. As far as the villains cast themselves, which cast member didn't really scream villain? Like, you know, all the cast members have that part. Which villain didn't really scream villain to you?
Like as an actor,
Mm-hmm.
it would be Christopher Baker who plays Brainwave. He's just the nicest, sweetest guy. He has 2 adorable little kids, and even his kids like not made fun of him as a villain, but it became a thing where everyone would go Brainwave because he was just so cute. We had a Brainwave because that's what his kids would do. So I'd say Chris.
Thanks.
All right, Spider-Man. Let's see what kind of a crossover we get.
Hi, Stargirl.
Hi, Spider-Man.
Who is, like, in general, who's an actor that you dream of working with?
So many people. And I'm not just saying this. I promise you, I am obsessed with Tom Holland. This is a known thing. If you know me, like my celebrity crush is Tom Holland. So I would love to work with him. I was actually up for it. It was between me and one other girl for a movie he did. And the other girl got it. I'm like, this, you know what? It's probably a good thing because I would have fangirled on set. So you know what? It happened for a reason. Julie Andrews. I grew up loving her. You know, she's in Princess Diaries and
Sound of Music.
So I know.
I made the Sound of Music reference earlier, and I had no idea that you were that big of a fan.
No, I absolutely love her, and not only would I love to work with her, but just meeting her and like getting to have a conversation with her would be so cool to me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I got a couple things to wrap us up. First off, how has this experience been doing this for the first time? What's going through your head? How are you feeling? Is this something that, you know, this is it, you're in, you're gonna do a bunch of these now?
I mean, you guys are all right, but actually my back, so I'm gonna go.
Okay.
No, I love it so much. I get so excited because you have to realize, like, I haven't gotten to meet a lot of people that have watched Stargirl. And so I feel like a little kid up here. I'm like, let's keep talking. I just want to keep talking.
Well, without betraying confidences, I know a lot of times fans come up to you guys at your table and they have very personal stories, very meaningful, very deep, sometimes tragic things to share about what these shows did for them and helped them get past and everything. What has that experience been like in this first day that you've been doing it here and the one other convention that you've done? I'm sure to an extent you were anticipating this, but what was the experience really like?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone has just been so kind and welcoming and so personable, which I feel like sometimes as an actor, I struggle with feeling objectified sometimes. And I am when it comes.
You're a product. We're going to sell her this way, and we're going to sell her that way, and we're going to dress her up like this.
Right, which like I signed up to be an actor, and I love being an actor. But that's sometimes something I struggle with, and so getting to be here and feel just so human and so personable with everyone, that's been a lovely surprise. This is kind of addicting. I want to keep meeting people and keep hearing their stories and what Stargirl means to them and how they connected with it, and almost giving me a purpose of what I do. So it's exceeded my expectations in every way, truly.
I've got a couple other things. Are you back at your table right after this? Do you have photo ops?
I believe so. I was supposed to leave, but I told them, I was like, I'll stay a little longer, please.
Okay, so whether you've gotten to see Brec already or not, go back up and see her at the table, because she'll be over there right after this. I should also mention, within the Fan Expo family, if you are huge fans of Stargirl, which I know that you all are, and you road trip to cons, which people do, people really do,
yes,
come out to Fan Expo Chicago. Fan Expo Chicago, you and Jeff Johns will be at the show.
Wildcat.
And Wildcat.
And Dr. Midnight and Joel McHale.
Wait, we announced all those people? Oh, I don't know. Hey, but now you know. I'm kidding. I don't know. Well, all right. No, you can't go yet because we've got something that we've got to do. The magic of these cons is the stuff that you can never expect. And I didn't know this. I didn't realize this was your first big one of these things. So, like I asked you before we started, we've got to show this lady the right kind of send-off. So start warming up now. And let's start by warming up by thanking our American Sign Language interpreters, everyone. Blue Sign Interpreting out of Houston, also Texans. Keep it going for our crew in the yellow shirts, the red shirts, all the different colors of shirts. this place and say yeehaw one more time for Miss Brec Bassinger.
Thank you everyone so much for your lovely questions. I appreciate you all.
Thanks, Stargirl. Woo!